Good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us online for the annual Highfields Strengthening Families Fundraising Breakfast. I'm Siobhan Klepper, a proud board member of Highfields. We really wish we could be with you in person right now for this breakfast, especially since we've all been keeping our distance from each other for more than half a year now. But 2020 had other plans, and we want to make sure that everyone stays safe and healthy. So this morning, we're making the best of the situation to use this year's breakfast as an opportunity to really show you all around the Highfields campus here in Onondaga. It's a unique year, so we figured we would give you a unique and special tour so you can see firsthand what Highfields has to offer and just how important Highfields is to families in Michigan and the progress they've made not only here on campus, but in their homes as well. In addition to a virtual tour, you're going to hear from several Highfields staff and board members this morning. You'll hear some awesome music from some of our very talented students, and we have some client stories for you as well, so you can hear directly from them how Highfields is making a difference and strengthening families. We're going to start the tour this morning right here. I'm standing in the dining hall where the students eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The dining hall and kitchen were renovated in 2018 thanks to the DART Foundation. And this makeover is part of Highfields' trauma-informed campus design project. Around campus, you'll notice fresh paint, new furniture, open spaces, warm colors, and bright or natural light. We want to make it feel more like a home where the students feel safe, valued, and supported because a lot of these students have been through a lot. We also want to thank the many people and businesses that helped with the trauma-informed redesign. So this is the dining hall, and we have Highfield CEO Brian Filson standing by now. He's at the DART Family Treatment and Education Center for our next stop in the tour. Good morning, Brian.
Thank you, Siobhan. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2020 Highfields Virtual Strengthening Families Breakfast. I wish I could be with you in person, enjoying a cup of coffee or breakfast with you and seeing your smiling faces. However, it is more important that we remain safe and healthy, and I hope next year that we can all be together again. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors, Meyer and Physicians Health Plan. I'd also like to thank and recognize all of the members of our Strengthening Families Society and Robert Drake Society, as well as our current and past board members and board emeritus. Your dedication to Highfields' mission truly inspires me. We couldn't do it without you. Also, thank you to all the virtual table hosts and their guests watching this event. We are grateful for all of the supporters, foundations, community members, and corporate sponsors who are part of our Highfields family. Now, I'd like to send it over to our new music studio for a performance.
Hello, my name is Russell Davis IV, and I'm excited because today, like every year with the Highfields Breakfast, I get an opportunity to share with everybody something that's near and dear to my heart, music. And not just music, but in a special way that we present it here. I'm excited to present to you guys Ghetto. And before you smile and laugh, let me explain. Ghetto is an acronym that means gaining a higher education to teach others. And what we teach here is that everything that you've been through, every experience, the good, the bad, is used to learn from. We take those lessons and we share it through music. And in that process, there's healing in that. Our students are from all over Michigan, have come from Grand Rapids, Lansing, Detroit, Jackson, to this one area, and we're able to take trauma and turn it into art. It's one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done in my life, so I get excited when I get to share it. Today we have Michael Jones and Joshua Brown, who are presenting a song today called Save Me. I hope you listen, I hope you're inspired, and I hope you're blessed. Thank you.
Hey, look, here it go. The struggle is real. It's real. You gotta get it how you live. Mom working for hours so she can prepare a meal. Pops was never around, but you tried to show me the skill. I was stuck behind bar, going crazy inside them cells. Somebody save me. Save me. I didn't want to go to school cause I was lazy. The kid that I am today, my peoples made me. I gotta change my lifestyle or meet the payment.
Somebody
I
save
wanna
me.
feel safe to say I made
me.
it. Somebody save me. Save me.
Somebody save me. Save me. Save me. Save me.
Somebody save me.
Somebody save me. Yeah. Save me. I was taking all them drugs, it made me crazy. Mama calling my phone, she can't share her baby. I was locked behind them cells, it made me crazy. I fell in love with the streets, I made about 30,000. I just wanted to do right to make my family proud. I was robbing here and Liz got caught up with the crowd. I was out here growing up, always had some problems. Somebody save me, save me, save me, save me. Somebody save me, save me, save me, save me. Somebody save me, yeah, save me. Somebody save me, save me, save me.
Thank you, gentlemen, for such an incredible performance. And thank you, everyone, for being part of our virtual Strengthening Families Breakfast and for supporting Highfields' mission of serving children and families. Today, we are living in unprecedented times, uncertain situations, and facing crises impacting children and families well beyond what we have ever seen before. A coworker recently said that 2020 has been one gut punch after another, and I can't disagree with him. As a nation, we are finding ourselves embroiled in the COVID-19 pandemic, engaging in emotional and sometimes volatile discussions around racial injustices and politics. Our communities are arguably in the most divisive time of our lives. As we all struggle to cope each day with a new wrinkle or new curveball thrown at us, we are seeing high levels of anxiety, panic attacks, and increased incidents of mental health crisis. And these situations are now more complicated because the usual methods of getting help have been interrupted, and for some families, even placed out of reach. In mid-March, when the pandemic hit, and which seems so long ago, I urged the Highfields team to carry on and said, same mission, different strategies. I am here to tell you now that they have honored that and have carried our mission on in ways that are too numerous to mention, but are in no way unmentionable. They have persevered when it wasn't easy to do so. They put themselves in harm's way to help those in desperate need. And they did what we always do, stabilize, strengthen, and empower those in need. If all of us have learned anything in 2020, it is my hope that we have learned this, that no one is exempt from the impact of crisis and trauma. It arrives uninvited and unexpectedly with a vengeance that we simply are not prepared for. In 2020, in some way, small or large, we have all been impacted in ways that we did not expect. Just recently, this happened in my own life. In the space of a few days, we had my 4-year-old granddaughter tested for COVID-19, placed my mother under the care of hospice, and rushed my wife to the emergency room with a serious heart issue. I can attest to the thoughts, the worries, and the anxieties that flood your mind, and they grab your gut. They paralyze you, and they drain you of energy and strength. Yet through coping mechanisms of faith, family, and friends, we can overcome and find a way to carry on. They helped me to stabilize, to get strong, and empowered me to recover and move on. I am so thankful to be part of an organization that does the same thing for the thousands of children and families that we work with each and every year. Highfields makes a difference thanks to you. When you support us, you stabilize, strengthen, and empower those children and families that so desperately need our help. And finally, my Highfields friends, I am an eternal optimist, and I have hope and expectations of a greater tomorrow. We cannot be misled by self-doubt, anxiety, and discord we may be facing. We cannot be overwhelmed by the increasing pressures that face us. Together, we will overcome these unprecedented times, uncertain situations, and we will find ways to deal with each and every crisis that comes our way. I have a vision that every child and family that needs help will receive it. I thank you in advance for caring and partnering with us. Highfields, same mission, different strategies. Let's strengthen families together.
I grew up on 7 Mile, Orleans, so it's the east side of Detroit. Started working at 13. Before I worked at Highfields, I always heard about Highfields. I was working for Peckham Youth Services. I was a paid intern, and we would go to Ingham Academy, and that is actually a part of Highfields. And talking to different workers and let me know, we work for Highfields, this is what we do. And it was very interesting, like, okay, this is the work that I want to do. So I just started doing research, and I found like different reviews on the company. I checked their mission statement, and I'm like, okay, this relates a lot to me. During this pandemic, I had one family that really struggled to gain employment. One of my families, her fiance lost his job due to COVID. And she also lost her work hours too. So she was a full-time employee and her hours were cut. She was working 40 hours a week, then she went down to 30 hours and then a little bit under 30 hours. She struggled to pay her bills and her rent. She was behind 2 months for her rent. So with the COVID financial assistance, we were able to pay 2 months for her rent and for her to be able to stay in her house. My client actually got her work hours increased. She talked to her supervisor and explained the situation. And then towards the end of the program participation, her fiance actually got a job. So he was working full-time, was able to assist his family. My experience at Highfields have been amazing, working with awesome people, working with clients that not only see a difference, but also want to make a difference in their lives and their children's lives. Everybody at Highfields that I met, they have a passion for helping others. I love that about them. They just have a welcoming spirit, welcoming atmosphere, and I love a company that actually stands for what they say that they do and say what they are. Highfields is really making a difference in other people's lives. They are changing lives, they are changing our communities, making it better, making sure that families are sticking together, making sure families have the resources that they need to obtain education, financial assistance, and preparing the workers to be able to serve our communities. What would I do without this work? If someone told me that I couldn't do it or if I had to live without it, I probably wouldn't survive.
There are countless families that could use the education that Highfields has brought to me, and the understanding of where you can be is better than where you're at.
Many people within her life and around her that have spent a long time telling her about the things that she had been doing wrong and the things that were deficits and the things that she couldn't handle, and spending a lot of time talking to her about the things that she couldn't do instead of instilling hope in the things and the skills and the strengths that she had.
They came to my home once a week, and they really gave me the opportunity to speak my mind without being overly judged and not think of me as being crazy, because I have 4 kids. And they really accepted me where I was and to show me where I should be at this time and where I'm able to go.
From that point forward, she was able to let those natural strengths and the natural abilities that she had within herself to organize all the things around her life, to take care of the little things, to talk to those people who have been sending these negative messages throughout her lifetime and put boundaries on those relationships so she can maintain that strength within herself. And once she was able to not only believe in herself and go forward, have somebody working with her, telling her all those things that she's doing right and all the strengths that she has within herself.
It felt like a light switch had turned over. I went from, this is all your fault, to what can I do to change? What can I do to help him? What can I do to be a better parent?
The time that we spent together, nearly 6 months, not only through role modeling and self-building, but it was just drawing out those things, those talents that she already had within inside of her, but the negative messaging had pushed down for so many years.
Without Highfields, I wouldn't have realized where I was going wrong as a person and as a parent. They really showed me who I could be and where I wanted to be as a parent.
Next, I'd like to introduce Emily Matthews from the DART Foundation. The DART Foundation continues to be a great supporter and partner with Highfields. The DART Family Treatment and Education Center behind me was dedicated last year as a legacy gift from the DART Foundation. Now, Emily will share a few words and an exciting announcement with you.
Thank you, Brian. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you this morning to celebrate the Highfields virtual breakfast. The mission of the DART Foundation has always been focused on STEM education and workforce development. However, we have a small amount of grantees that are special to the DART family with which we have a legacy relationship. Highfields is one of those special grantees. It's a relationship that stemmed over 40 years and involved the donation of millions of dollars. Today, I'm excited to share on behalf of the DART Foundation a $25,000 match for today's breakfast. I'd like to ask each and every one of you to join me personally, the DART family, and the foundation in making a donation to Highfields. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Highfields board member, Chris McVicker.
Thank you, Emily. Hello, I'm Chris McVicker, and I'm a Highfields board member. I started my career in finance when I was 20 years old. I was a starving young financial planner looking for new ideas. My manager at the time told me about how life insurance could be used to maximize one's charitable contribution. So naturally, I felt compelled to find a nonprofit I could believe in, and one that would also be willing to partake in such an endeavor. My manager knew of Highfields and suggested I call them. Somehow, I garnered a meeting with Jim Hines, who was the executive director at the time. He was excited about the prospect of having an alternative funding source for Highfields, hopefully for my sake, and I am biased here, well into the future. We each were going to spread the word, so we inked the contract and felt like pioneers. During my 4+ years of having the honor and privilege of serving on the board, I am continuously humbled by how Highfields employees work to inspire kids to be kids, how they work to keep families together, and how they strengthen the communities they serve. Their dedication of doing what they do, day in and day out, is crucial now more than ever in our current environment. I've always wanted to be someone greater than I am, but I am no caregiver, counselor, doctor, or teacher. I donated for so long to Highfields, not really knowing what they do, just out of habit. I donate now and will continue to donate because they do more than I could ever be. Today you've heard the full Highfields story and heard some inspirational stories. And it is my privilege to ask you to make a financial contribution to support their important work in the community. If you have been inspired by what you have seen and would like to support the ongoing operating needs of Highfields, I invite you to join me as a member of our Strengthening Family Society. Now I would like to ask you to open the pledge form you received either through the email or using the link on the screen. Starting at the top of the card, the Strengthening Family Society pledge level names are meant to give you a sense of what your contribution can do. Your contribution will go toward the unrestricted operating fund of Highfields. The first giving level the gift of stability, is a pledge of $1,000 each year for 5 years, which is about $83 a month. The second giving level, the gift of strength, is a pledge of $5,000 a year for 5 years. And the final level, the gift of empowerment, is a pledge of $10,000 per year for 5 years. If you're joining me in pledging support for the Highfields mission, thank you on behalf of the children and families we serve. If you prefer to contribute in other ways or in a different amount, in the next box, please tell us how much you would like to give and for how many years. If you have a current pledge already, there are options for you to increase or extend your pledge to commit your continued support to children and families. When you are finished filling out your pledge form, please simply email it back to Highfields using the button on the form. Or you can also download the form and mail it to Highfields. You can also make a gift online, text the number to donate, or send a check to Highfields. Please know that whatever you have given today, including the gift of your time, we sincerely appreciate your support for the children and families we serve. Thank you. Now I'll turn the program back to Siobhan to wrap up.
Thanks, Chris. So there you have it. We hope you enjoyed the tour, the music, the emotional stories, and we hope you learned a little more about Highfields and the special things we do here to help children and families in Michigan. Hopefully next year we will get to be with you in person, but we had a great opportunity this year to show you a little something different, and you got to see exactly where your donations go. That concludes our 2020 virtual annual Highfields Strengthening Families fundraising breakfast. Thank you all so much for joining us this year and for your new or continued support of Highfields. We could not do this without you.